If you guys grinded working out the same way you grinded on video games, you would be absolute beasts right now. I don't game anymore, but I know for a fact that a gamer's dedication to leveling up and upgrading their character is unmatched. What you don't realize though is that calisthenics is more like a video game than you think. So that's exactly what I'm going to show you in today's video.
Like the business, we ain't sleeping for the shit. Some be beaming, body weak, and I'm just leaking when I'm hits. Full of envy while they staring.
Okay guys, so a clip of my previous video recently went semi-viral on TikTok where I was illustrating how after you get good at pull-ups, you can branch out into different directions and unlock new skills. And the reason people liked it so much was because it reminded them of a video game skill tree. It seems like a lot of you guys struggle with motivation sometimes, and framing your training in a gaming context helps a lot. So after reading through some of these great comments, I decided to dive deeper into this concept of the calisthenics skill tree. The reason why this concept works pretty well for helping beginners is because it shows them how important mastering the basics truly is. Obviously the basics seem boring in comparison to the advanced skills that you can learn, but if you think of the basics like a low-level skill that you must master before moving on to the next skill level, things get much more interesting, don't they? Allow me to give you an example with a simple basic push-up that you all know and love. A push-up on its own is nothing interesting, but what you don't see is that after push-ups, you can do explosive push-ups, then clap push-ups, jumping push-ups, to eventually get to Superman push-ups, for example. And there are plenty of skill paths like these that stem from push-ups but lead to crazy skills. The same reasoning applies to most of the other basics like pull-ups, squats, dips, leg raises, etc. I know a lot of you guys coming from TikTok and Instagram wanted to see more examples of skill paths, so I'm putting up on screen right now a couple that I've drawn out for other basics. You can pause and screenshot as much as you'd like. As you can see, everyone starts calisthenics in the same ballpark area known as the basics. You need to unlock the basics and master them by increasing your reps. Then, from that common starting point, you can branch out and specialize in skills that interest you. What's cool with calisthenics that might differ from some video games though, is that you can unlock more than one skill path with the same character. Now, although you can't learn everything at once, you can definitely learn more than one skill at a time, especially if each skill you're learning utilizes different muscle groups. So you could, for example, train for a leg skill like the pistol squat, a pushing skill like the one-arm push-up, and a pulling skill like the one-arm pull-up all at the same time. Let me remind you though that this is only made possible if you've previously grinded on your legs, pushing and pulling basics. I'd like to add that I recommend sticking to 1 to 3 skills at a time because you don't want to overtrain and injure yourself. Now, unfortunately, this concept of the calisthenics skill tree does have some flaws to it. Firstly, it doesn't differentiate progressions versus prerequisites. Within the same path, you will have a mix of both exercises that directly contribute to the skill you want to learn, and exercises that are requirements you need to have in order to train for this skill. The pull-up, for example, is a prerequisite needed to learn the front lever, so it makes sense to put it in the beginning of the path. But it isn't really considered a progression that precedes the tuck front lever, as it isn't the same movement that directly translates to front lever gains. Things get even more confusing when you realize that there is no singular path that can lead you to the skill you want. Different people use different methods and different progressions to reach the same end goal. It becomes complicated to draw a straight line skill path that covers all the possible progressions of each skill. There are static and dynamic progressions to choose from, bands, weights, machines that you can use, and there isn't one that's better than the other. It really comes down to preference. To make things even more fun, I'll add one last complicating element. There are skills that you can acquire for free. Meaning you could skip the whole skill path and all the progressions just because of the strength you got from other skills. And that is pretty much impossible to keep track of with a simple skill tree. I know that's a lot to unpack, but the reason I'm telling you all this is just so you understand that these skill trees that I'm drawing out for you guys are not the end-all be-all of calisthenics, and they don't cover anywhere close to everything you need to know about progressing. However, I still stand by the fact that the skill tree is useful in motivating you and showing you that these basic pull-ups and push-ups that you're bored of doing, they lead somewhere. They are absolutely worth grinding out because they will eventually take you to the skills that you really want. The skills that you probably started calisthenics for. So my friends, that's it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you think of this skill tree concept. And please like, subscribe, and share this video to a gamer calisthenics friend. Peace. Blessings, been on sick and tired of counting blessings. Stressing about some shit that hasn't even happened.